Good afternoon. Myself Ramsidhar from the Department of Basic Science and Humanities. I'm going to teach managerial economics and financial analysis in this semester. So you can see the syllabus here. As usual, the syllabus comprises of 6 units. First unit deals about introduction to managerial economics and demand analysis. In this unit, I'm going to teach you about what managerial economics is, what is the difference between a regular economics and managerial economics, how managerial economics is derived from regular economics. So I'm going to start my class with the introduction of economics and how economics has transformed into managerial economics, followed with the concepts of demand and the different types of demand, types of elasticity of demand, and demand forecasting. So these are the contents that are included in Unit 1. And on a glance, in this Unit 1, I'm going to give you a brief introduction about what managerial economics is, at the same time, what is demand and the different dimensions that are included in demand. A very simple introduction about these things. And your second unit deals with a production concept or production function and cost analysis. In this second unit, my focus will be on identifying different types of production functions. I'll focus on different type of production functions, followed with law of variable proportions and iso cost, iso cons. At the same time, in this unit, I'll teach you about a different type of cost concepts. So here, cost is different with price. So I'll give you a brief introduction about what is cost and what are the different type of costs that are associated in your syllabus. And at the same time, a differentiation between a price and cost is given over here. The next topic included in this second unit is a cost volume profit analysis. We call this cost volume profit analysis as a break-even point also. So I'm going to teach you about what is break-even point and the different advantages of break-even point as well as the disadvantages of break-even point. That will be followed with some simple problems. Third unit is about different type of markets, theories of a firm and pricing policies. In this third unit, my focus will be on identifying the different type of markets, and evaluation of each and every market is done over here, followed with the price output determination. And as per our syllabus, you can see two type of markets here, perfect market and imperfect market. So I'll explain you about what perfect competition or what perfect market is. At the same time, I'll give you a classification about imperfect market, followed with its characteristics along with price and output determination. And then next topic included in your third unit is different managerial theories. In the third unit, we focus on different managerial theories also. On a general note, there are many managerial theories included in economics, but here, according to your syllabus, managerial theories are confined only to two. One thing is about a Maris growth maximization theory, and second one is Williamson's approach. So only two managerial theories are explained over here. And the next thing is a different type of pricing. Already I said in your second unit, you people will come to know about the different cost concepts, and here you will identify different type of pricings here. So this is about your third unit. Fourth unit is about different type of business organization. In this fourth unit, my concentration will be on what are the different type of business organization, and I evaluate each and every business organization on its characteristics, merits and demerits. So on a general note, we have three type of business organizations here. One is sole tradership, second one is partnership business, and the third one is joint stock company. So I'll give you an introduction about what is a sole trader and what is a partnership business and joint stock company in this third unit. At the same time, I'll teach you about various public enterprises, and the different type of public enterprises are also explained here. Next topic is about business cycles. So I'll explain you about what is a business cycle and various characteristics associated in a business cycle, and the different phases of a business cycle are discussed here. This is about your unit 4. And the fifth unit is about accounting and financial analysis. So here in this fifth unit, my concentration will be on how to prepare an accounting statement or how to prepare a financial statement for a company. So I'll teach you the various type of financial statements that are required for a business. Generally, we focus on 3 statements here. The first statement is trading account. The second statement is profit and loss account. The third statement is balance sheet. A combination of these 3 is also called as a final account also. So we'll focus on preparing all these 3 statements. And these 3 statements will be explained by adding some adjustment for a particular situation. So this is a problematic unit. You have to get an idea about various type of accounts, and you should get an idea about how to prepare these financial statements. Again, in this accounting will teach you about various type of ratios that are required to analyze the position of a business. Why? Because in order to determine the position of a business, I just want to know whether a company is running in profit or losses. In this regard, I have to undergo, or I have to go through different type of financial statements and analyze all these financial statements, and later I'll come to know whether my business is running in profit or loss. So it takes a lot of time. But if I use a simple ratio analysis technique, by applying a very simple formula, I can simply give whether a company is running in profit or losses. So just for the sake of giving an overview about the financial position of a company, about a general position of a company, I can use this ratio analysis. And again, I'll teach you about fund flow statement as cash flow statement also. This unit is completely a problematic unit. And next, the last unit is about capital budgeting. So here, capital budgeting is nothing but evaluating the business proposal. Imagine if you want to set up your own business enterprise. So you will have to design, or you will have to frame some ideas that which business you have to set up. And after framing that idea, one has to check which business will give you profit. So in that regard, probably you might set up some 3 to 4 proposals, and out of this 3 to 4 proposals, one have to select one proposal and implement that into action. So in order to assess the relative worth of a business proposal, I use this capital budgeting technique. On a simple note, capital budgeting is just a technique to determine the worth of a business proposal. And for that, we use different techniques to determine the worth of a business proposal. There are different techniques of capital budgeting. Generally, these capital budgeting techniques are classified into 2 types. One is a traditional method, and the second one is a modern method. In this traditional method, we have 2 methods here. One is payback period method, and another one is a accounting rate of return. And under modern method, you can see some 3 methods: net present value method, internal rate of return, and profitability index. So these are different methods of capital budgeting. And again, this unit is also a problematic unit. This is a glance about your syllabus. On an average, 60% of your syllabus is theoretical, and 40% of your syllabus includes problems. Unit 5, Unit 6 have problems, and again in Unit 2 you can see break-even analysis or break-even point. Again, that includes problems. So this is a brief introduction about your syllabus, and you can see the textbooks here. I've quoted some 3 textbooks for your reference. The title remains the same: Managerial Economics and Financial Analysis. The first book is written by Dr. Ian Apparao, Dr. P. Vijay Kumar. The second book written by Dr. A.R. Aryasri. The third book is written by Professor J.V. Prabhakar Rao, Professor P. Venkat Rao. So these are some 3 textbooks for your syllabus, and preferably you can go with the second book, Managerial Economics and Financial Analysis by Dr. A.R. Aryasri. 90% of the syllabus is covered in this book. Even you can go with the book 1 and book 3 also. The coverage of the syllabus will be less when compared to second book. And I've quoted some 10 reference books here. So depending upon your concept, you can refer the books here. So I have given some 10 books. This is about your textbooks and reference books. And now let me start my syllabus. This is about your unit 1 syllabus. Already I've briefed about this. Now coming to our class for today, before starting about the nature and scope of managerial economics, first of all, one has to know about what economics is. Say, let me start with a small example. Imagine that you're going to a market to purchase vegetables. When you go to a market, we perform different activities over there. The first activity that we perform is, first of all, we will check what are the prices for the different kind of vegetables that are available in the market. The second thing is we'll see which vegetables are most liked by our family members. And the third one is we'll try to purchase the vegetables. In such a manner that you have to get maximum or more variety of vegetables with cheaper cost or with less cost. So these are some 3 tasks that are performed by an individual who goes to a market to purchase vegetables. So if you are performing these 3 activities, it indirectly indicates that you are applying the principle of economics. So here what economics says. Economics is nothing but it is something like a concept which is used to maximize the satisfaction level of an individual by utilizing the limited amount of resources. I'll repeat my concept again. Economics is nothing but maximizing the satisfaction level of a customer or maximizing the satisfaction level of an individual by using limited amount of resources. This is what the underlying concept or the phenomena behind economics is. ఇంకా మీకు సింపుల్గా తెలుగులో చెప్పాలంటే, మీరు ఒక మార్కెట్కి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు అందులో ఫస్ట్ మీరు మార్కెట్లో కూరగాయల యొక్క రేట్లు ఎలా ఉన్నాయనేది చూస్తారండి. రెండోది, మన ఫ్యామిలీ మెంబర్స్ ఏ కూరగాయలు అయితే ఇష్టంగా తింటారో వాటిని ఐడెంటిఫై చేస్తారు. మూడోది, మనం పే చేసే వర్త్కి ఎక్కువ వెరైటీ ఆఫ్ వెజిటబుల్స్ వచ్చే విధంగా పర్చేస్ చేస్తారు. సో ఇక్కడ జరుగుతుంది ఏంటంటే, మీరు లిమిటెడ్ మనీతో ఎక్కువ వెరైటీ ఆఫ్ లేకపోతే ఎక్కువ అమౌంట్ ఆఫ్ వెజిటబుల్స్ ని పర్చేస్ చేస్తారు. ఒకవేళ మీరు ఈ ఫిలాసఫీ ఫాలో అవుతున్నారు అంటే ఇండైరెక్ట్ గా మీకు తెలియకుండానే మీరు ఎకనామిక్స్ కాన్సెప్ట్ ని అప్లై చేస్తున్నారు అని అర్థం. అండ్ ఎకనామిక్స్ అనేది ఏం చెప్తోందంటే, మన సాటిస్ఫాక్షన్ లెవెల్ పెరగాలి, లేకపోతే మన కన్సంప్షన్ లెవెల్ పెరగాలి, కానీ మన దగ్గర ఉండే రిసోర్సెస్ లెవెల్ మాత్రం తక్కువగానే ఉంటుంది. సో ఈ రెండింటిని బ్యాలెన్స్ చేసేదాన్ని మనం ఎకనామిక్స్ అని చెప్తాము. అండ్ మీకు ఒకవేళ నేను చెప్పింది అర్థం కాకపోతే, డౌట్స్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే మీరు ఈ చాట్ బాక్స్లో మెన్షన్ చేయొచ్చండి. నేను వెయిట్ చేస్తాను. మీకు డౌట్స్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే ఈ చాట్ బాక్స్లో మెన్షన్ చేయండి, అది క్లియర్ చేయవచ్చు. సో మీకు డౌట్స్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే మెన్షన్ చేయండి, చాట్ బాక్స్లో మెన్షన్ చేయండి. మీ డౌట్స్ క్లియర్ చేసిన తర్వాత ఐ స్టార్ట్ మై సెషన్. Well, I'll start my session now. See, you can see some 3 definitions here. You can see my presentation. My presentation slide comprises of 3 definitions related to economics here. So the first definition is proposed by Adam Smith, and this Adam Smith is called as father of economics. And Adam Smith has said, or he has quoted economics in a single sentence like, economics is a science of wealth. According to Adam Smith, economics is just a science of wealth. And so, as per the viewpoint of Adam Smith, he feels that economics is something like earning money, spending money for achieving or for increasing the satisfaction level of an individual. As per Adam Smith, it is just a science which deals with managing money. Adam Smith అనే అతని ప్రకారం ఎకనామిక్స్ అనేది మనీని మేనేజ్ చేయటమే. ఈ మనీ మేనేజ్ చేయడంలో మనకి 2 parts ఉంటాయండి. యూ కెన్ సీ 2 parts in managing money. One is earning money and the second one is spending money in order to achieve higher satisfaction. So Adam Smith feels that economics is earning money and spending money in a wise manner so that he can gain maximum satisfaction. This is one widely accepted definition of economics, which is proposed by Adam Smith, who is called as a father of economics. Well, you can see the second definition in my presentation, and this definition is quoted by Lionel Robbins. According to Lionel Robbins, economics is a social science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. So this is the second definition proposed by Lionel Robbins on economics. And as per this definition, Lionel Robbins says that economics is nothing but utilizing limited amount of resources in order to gain more satisfaction. And let me explain this definition here. See, you can see some 3 propositions in that definition. Lionel Robbins definition lo 3 propositions చూడొచ్చు. The first proposition is ends, second proposition is scarce means, and the third proposition is alternative uses. So as per this context, ends in the sense the different type of wants of a human being. As per this situation, or as per this context, ends in the sense the different desires or wants of a human being. So as per Lionel Robbins, my first proposition, and see I'll show the definition again. Economics is a social science which studies human behavior as a relationship between ends and scarce means which have alternative uses. So you can see ends here, scarce means, and alternative uses. So these are some 3 propositions that are used in this definition. The first proposition, ends is nothing but the wants or desires of a human being, and there are some peculiar features for this ends. First important feature for this end is for this wants is the wants are unlimited in nature. The reason why the wants are unlimited is whenever a want is fulfilled and another want emerges in the place of that want, so the wants will be in a continuous process. Once one want is fulfilled, a new want emerges in the place of the old want. So you can see a continuation there. That is the reason the wants or the desires of a human being or the desire of an individual is unlimited. So this is my first proposition. And second proposition, scarce means, scarce in the sense a commodity or a good which is shortage in nature is called as scarce. Means if the supply is less and the demand is more, then you can say that particular product as scarce product. Simply speaking, if the number of students are 30 students and if I have only 20 books with me, so shortage of books or shortage is called as scarce. And means in the sense the resources. So on a glance, scarce means is nothing but shortage of resources. So that is my second proposition. And the third proposition is alternative uses. The third proposition is alternative uses. Alternative use in the sense, if a particular commodity or if a particular good is used for multiple purposes, then that particular usage is called as alternative use. ఒకటే వస్తువుని రకరకాల యూజెస్ కోసం ఉపయోగిస్తే దాన్ని ఆల్టర్నేటివ్ యూజ్ అని చెప్తారు. I will use a mobile phone. I'll use a mobile phone to receive calls. I'll use a mobile phone to listen to music. I'll use a mobile phone to capture photos. So a single mobile phone is going to perform all these activities, and that is called as alternative use. And see, now I've made these three, I've explained these three propositions here. My first proposition is nothing but the wants of a human being, and that wants are unlimited in nature. And second one is a scarce means that is nothing but a shortage of resources or shortage of inputs. The third one is alternative uses, self-explanatory. Alternative uses is self-explanatory. So now, how do we explain the concept of economics by using these three propositions? When you're operating a business or when you're leading your day-to-day life, your wants are unlimited. You want to go to a movie, you want to pay your college fee, you want to purchase a new mobile phone, you want to go to a restaurant. Likewise, the wants of a human being are unlimited in nature. And in order to fulfill that unlimited needs or unlimited wants, do you have sufficient amount of money? Definitely not. So your resources are limited in number. And in this situation, how do you manage the thing? So what we do is we prioritize our uses. We'll prioritize our uses, and whichever use is more important, that we'll spend money on that use. Whichever is less important, we'll ignore that. So it is something like a balancing your shortage of resources in order to achieve some maximum satisfaction level. That is called as economics. According to Lionel Robbins, economics is nothing but spending your shortage of resources in order to fulfill your unlimited needs. That is called as economics. Something like balancing your shortage of resources with your desires in an effective manner is called as economics, according to Lionel Robbins. And see, this definition, the definition proposed by Lionel Robbins was a widely accepted definition, even though there are some criticism for this, but this definition is widely accepted. And see, you can see a third definition here. You can see a third definition on economics. And this third definition says that economics is just a study of administration of scarce means and the determinants of employment and income. As per Lord Keynes, economics is nothing but managing your limited resources and the determinants of employment and income. So this definition says that we are going to maintain a proper balance between your earnings and limited money. That is another definition proposed by Lord Keynes. So these are some three definitions of economics I've quoted in my presentation. See, there are altogether 14 to 17 definitions proposed by many economists, and I've quoted some three definitions of economics here. And for a simple note, economics is nothing but using limit, we have unlimited wants, we use limited amount of money or we use limited amount of resources to gain maximum satisfaction. ఇంకా సింపుల్ గా చెప్పాలంటే ఎకనామిక్స్ అంటే మన అవసరాలని తీర్చుకోవడానికి అన్ని కూడా రెడీమేడ్ గా ఉండవండి. సో మన దగ్గర ఉన్న తక్కువ రిసోర్సెస్ ని యూజ్ చేసుకొని ఎక్కువ సాటిస్ఫాక్షన్ ని గెయిన్ చేయడానికి యూజ్ చేసే కాన్సెప్ట్ ని ఎకనామిక్స్ అని చెప్తాము. సెకండ్ డెఫినేషన్ లోనూ అదే చెప్తున్నాం, థర్డ్ డెఫినేషన్ లోనూ అదే చెప్తున్నాం. ఫస్ట్ డెఫినేషన్ లో ఏం చెప్తున్నాం అంటే ఎకనామిక్స్ అంటే మనీని మెయింటైన్ చేసేదాన్ని, మనీని మేనేజ్ చేసేదాన్ని ఎకనామిక్స్ అని చెప్తున్నాం. సో దిస్ ఈస్ అబౌట్ ఎకనామిక్స్. Again, I'll wait for a while. If you have any doubts, you can post in the chat box so that I can clear your doubts. మీకు డౌట్స్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే చాట్ బాక్స్ లో పోస్ట్ చేయండి, నేను వెయిట్ చేస్తాను, మీ డౌట్స్ క్లియర్ చేస్తాను. So as this is an introduction session, I'm just giving a brief introduction about economics only. Next class, I'll teach you what managerial economics is. And meanwhile, let me know whether there are any doubts. So I have a doubt here. Which will be the most appropriate definition to answer in the examination? See, every definition has its own significance, and being a student, you have all the rights to quote your own definition. Means you can choose any one. Say, sir, I cannot remember. In that case, you can prefer the first one. Economics is a science of wealth. If you are most comfortable in memorizing a big definition, then you can go for the second one or third one. Whether you prefer the first definition or you prefer the second definition or the third definition, each and every definition is same. Why? Because we honor same marks for any definition. మీరు ఏ డెఫినేషన్ రాసినా ఒకటే మార్క్స్ వస్తాయండి. మీరు ఏ డెఫినేషన్ రాసినా ఒకటే మార్క్స్ వస్తాయి. సో ఇక్కడ సెకండ్ డెఫినేషన్ ఉంది చూడండి. సెకండ్ డెఫినేషన్ అనేది మనం వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు స్టడీ అబౌట్ ది సైకలాజికల్ బిహేవియర్ ఆఫ్ ఎ కస్టమర్. ఒక కస్టమర్ లేకపోతే ఒక అతని యొక్క సైకలాజికల్ బిహేవియర్ ని స్టడీ చేస్తున్నాం. ఆ బిహేవియర్ ని ఎలా స్టడీ చేస్తున్నాం అంటే, ఒక మనిషికి ఉండే కోరికలు అనేవి ఎప్పుడూ కంటిన్యూస్ గా పెరుగుతూనే ఉంటాయండి, ఎప్పుడు కంటిన్యూస్ గా అలా ఉంటూనే ఉంటాయి. మరి ఆ కోరికలు అన్ని ఉన్నప్పుడు అవన్నిటిని ఫుల్ఫిల్ చేయడానికి మన దగ్గర అన్లిమిటెడ్ గా రిసోర్సెస్ ఉండవండి. ఆ రిసోర్సెస్ అనేది మనీ అవ్వచ్చు, టైం అవ్వచ్చు, సో ఏవైనా అన్లిమిటెడ్ గా రిసోర్సెస్ ఉండవు. ఈ రెండిటికి మధ్య బ్యాలెన్స్ ని క్రియేట్ చేసేదాన్ని ఎకనామిక్స్ అని చెప్తున్నాం. సెకండ్ డెఫినేషన్ అనేది ఇట్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు బ్రిడ్జ్ అ బ్యాలెన్స్ బిట్వీన్ యువర్ అన్లిమిటెడ్ వాంట్స్ అండ్ లిమిటెడ్ రిసోర్సెస్. మన దగ్గర ఉన్న లిమిటెడ్ రిసోర్సెస్ తో ఈ అన్లిమిటెడ్ వాంట్స్ ని అచీవ్ చేయడానికి, లేకపోతే అన్లిమిటెడ్ వాంట్స్ ని ఫుల్ఫిల్ చేయడానికి యూజ్ చేసేదాన్ని ఎకనామిక్స్ అని చెప్తున్నాను. I hope you guys have understood this. Well, next class I'll start about what managerial economics is, and I'll give you I'll start my session with giving a difference between managerial economics and economics. And meanwhile, thank you.